A laser boresighter is a device that helps you match the bullet's point of impact with the pointed aim from the rifle's optic or sights. In essence, they attempt to center a laser with the bore of the rifle. In theory, this is supposed to make your rifle perfectly zeroed, but in reality, these devices are simply to get your bullets on paper so you can fine-tune your rifle's zero at the range.
Here's a common mistake that people make. They buy a scope at the gun shop, and the gun shop offers to sight in their rifle for them. Likely all they do is use a laser boresighter aimed at a wall 25 yards away. Then the poor guy goes hunting and wounds or completely misses an animal. This is so common that it's not even funny. Every hunting guide in the world has many stories about clients doing this. In fact, it's probably their most common complaint. Once again, a laser boresighter, it's only used to get your bullets on paper. Once on paper, you can then zero your rifle to the desired point of aim, point of impact, and go from there. Laser boresighters do not zero your rifle. There's various styles and brands of laser boresighters out there. I've used the Laser Light style boresighters, the Wheeler Engineering style boresighter, the Bushnell system, and various other universal type of boresighters out there over the years. And honestly, nothing out there works better than the Sight Mark caliber specific boresighters. They're very easy to use in my mind. The pros are that these boresighters are relatively inexpensive. They last a long time. They're small enough to take anywhere with you. They're very easy to set up and use, especially compared to the Wheeler system or the Laser Light. And also they're reasonably accurate. And they come in many different sizes. They come for almost every rifle and pistol caliber you can think of, center fire anyways. And they even have shotgun boresighters. I use this on my 12 gauge and it works pretty damn good. The negative attributes of these boresighters though, I'd have to say are that the batteries have to be installed for use and then removed after use. That's a little bit of an inconvenience. Battery life is also pretty short on these things. Should feel lucky if you get over a half hour or 45 minutes.
Remember that for good results, you need to use the boresighter in a dim area so that the laser dot will be bright and positive. Avoid using these devices in direct sunlight or brightly lit rooms. To use these boresighters, verify that the gun is unloaded and set up the rifle in a gun rest with the barrel pointed at a wall 25 yards away. Make sure this wall is located in a dim area. Remove the battery cap and install the batteries. They just drop right in there. And screw the cap back on. This turns the laser on. Once you verify that the laser is working, chamber the boresighter in the rifle. Now, simply adjust your scope crosshair to match the red dot on the wall. I usually put my crosshairs about 1.5 inches above the red dot at 25 yards, so the 100-yard zero will be closer. If you're zeroing at 200 yards, just line up the crosshair right on the dot. Remember that most rifles zeroed at 25 yards will shoot a couple inches high at 100 yards, but this largely depends on how high your scope is mounted above the bore axis. Then gently remove the boresighter. Then remove the batteries out of the boresight and replace the cap. And lastly, return everything to the pouch. Now I have a neat trick to keep the batteries from falling out of this pouch. Keep the package that the batteries came in and reuse this package to store the batteries. Then this package can simply be slided back into the carry pouch, and it holds it securely. Now let's head to the range and see how this boresight worked. I have a target set up at exactly 100 yards from my muzzle. We're going to see how far off the laser boresighted zero is from the actual zero. After that, I'm going to zero the rifle and shoot a group to verify. Watch the bottom target in the upper right-hand bullseye. Okay, you can see that the actual point of impact at 100 yards does not match the point of aim. I was aiming for the bullseye, but my bullets are impacting to the right. According to my calipers, my zero is off by 1.5 inches, so I'm going to adjust my scope 6 clicks to the left and shoot it again. We'll see what happens. It looks like my windage is now dead on. I'm going to adjust my elevation up 2 clicks or a 1/2 inch and shoot another 3-shot group. Look at the top target's lower left corner. You could see that my rifle's now zeroed at 100 yards. After laser boresighting, it took 3 shots to get my zero perfect. It's a decent group too, about a 1/2 minute of angle.
So in conclusion, even though the Sight Mark caliber specific laser boresighter is a pretty damn accurate boresighter, it doesn't give you a perfect zero or even an acceptable zero. There's just too many variables for it to give you a perfect zero. I mean, think about it. Even if the laser's only off by 5%, I mean, that's 5 inches at 100 yards. I've used this boresighter right here, this 223 model, on an AR-15 a few months ago, and my actual zero was off by about 6 inches to the right. So in the end, the laser boresighter is a tool to get you close, but it doesn't zero your rifle. Never go hunting without going to the range and properly zeroing your rifle correctly. And as always, thanks for watching my video and good hunting.